Check, 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 check. The reason why I keep saying the word check, 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 sixth graders, is because I notice that when I'm recording my Zoom meetings, that the audio doesn't kick in right away. So I just want to say welcome to everybody. I'm glad you're here with me today. And this is a little weird. So we're doing this new thing called asynchronous learning. And that means I'm not there with you right now. I'm here in my house, but I want to teach you the same way that we would kind of normally learn if we were live remote together. So what I'm going to try to do is teach a lesson, and it's going to take the 30 minutes of art class that it would normally take, and we're going to work together. So normally if you were watching an art lesson on YouTube, it might be like a 10-minute long video, and you would kind of watch along, and then you might pause the video if you needed to erase something or change something or something like that. So I'm not going to do that. We're just going to record as if you are live with me. So hi, everybody, and you can say hi back to me, and your parents might think you're a little bit crazy, but I'm going to tell you what, we're trying to make things feel as normal as possible, and this is sort of a weird school year, so here you are, you're here with me. Now, the other weird thing is that I haven't seen you live in a while. We missed school the week of November 9th because I had to go to different professional development to kind of learn how to do stuff like this and to get ready for this new schedule and new phase of the school year. Then the first week that you're doing this, I'm teaching live with kindergarten, first and second graders. Every other week, I'm going to meet you live. This week, we're not live, but you are still expected to be here and participate in art. And so I'm going to make it as live as possible. All right, I'm really trying for you guys to feel like you are here with me. I'm going to do my best job to do that. You're also going to notice that I might stutter and stumble and say like I kind of normally do, because I'm here at my house and I'm going to do a lesson to you who's there at your house, and I'm recording a video, so it's a little weird for me. I am not a professional YouTuber, and I don't know exactly how this will go, so we're learning this together and you're here with me. All right. So the thing we've been working in class is our op art designs, and we're going to finish that up live together. Okay, we're going to keep working on that live together. So the thing I'm talking about right now is your sphere drawing. Okay, the drawing that looks like this. Okay, or like that, to hold it up to both of the cameras. Some of you might already be quite a bit further along and have colored it in. Okay, and if that's you, great. Okay, you are right on track. If you don't have a lot of color in it, that might be something you spend time on outside of class. However, to finish this up, one of the things we want to do is add shading to it. And we haven't really had a lesson where we've practiced shading. So I think that would be sort of the perfect thing to learn about today. So what I'm first going to talk about is one of our elements of art. And that element of art that I want to talk to you about today is value. So value is the lightness or darkness of a color. Okay. So if you look at anything in life, you're going to notice that light will hit it. It will make it brighter. And shadows will make things darker. In art, when we're mixing colors, if you mixed black with a color, for example, that would be called adding a shade. All right. If you mixed white with a color, that would be called adding a tint. And we have learned about this in the past, and so this is a little bit of a reminder for you. But I want you to look at this slide here and what we see from dark to light here. This is called a value scale. Okay. So anytime you see these sort of a rectangle laid out like this, it has different colored or different shaded squares next to each other. That's called the value scale. And what I want you to do today is we're going to practice making value. We're going to practice shading, because the next step on our op art piece that we're doing, the next step on this, okay, is going to be adding some shading, all right? But before we do that, I think it'd be good to just do a project where we kind of practice our shading. So let me grab the example of what we're going to do. So we're going to do something called value crystals. So this is what we're going to make. Let me zoom in on this thing right now. Okay. And I drew this thing earlier today. And this is what we are all going to do. Okay. Just so you know, there's also step-by-step instructions on my Canvas page. I want to show you where that is real quick. So if we take a look at my Canvas page and you go into modules, and you know, this is the spot where we always kind of upload stuff, and scroll down to value crystals. In fact, I might even edit this and put the value crystals up at top. But if you click this, it will open up a PDF handout that has step-by-step instructions. And I've noticed that today it takes forever to load, but let's full screen this. There we go. So this is literally what we're going to do, okay? We're going to draw a triangle. We're going to add a dot in the middle of the triangle. We're going to draw lines connecting the dot to the corners. And then we're going to shade those. And I'm going to talk about exactly how to do all that on video so you have a better sense of exactly how that's going to work. But this is what we're going to do. So if you want to do this without a video and you want a little refresher, or if you're trying with the video and you're feeling like it's not working, this is just another resource for you to go onto my Canvas page and check that out, okay? So that's something you can definitely try to do. So here's what you're going to need. You are going to need today, you're going to need a pencil. You are going to need a ruler. If you don't have a ruler, anything that can make straight lines will work. So you could literally grab the edge of a book, okay? Anything that will help you make a straight line, the edge of a colored pencil box will help you make a straight line, okay? Whatever you need, pencil, ruler, okay? The other thing you're probably gonna want to have nearby is a pencil sharpener. When you shade, it makes the pencil tip extremely dull and pretty quick, okay? So you may want a pencil sharpener nearby because this thing's gonna get dull. The other optional thing, is called a blending stump. I am guessing that most of you don't have one of these. However, I know a lot of you show me those art kits where you've got that art kit that you open up and it's got your oil pastels and your watercolor paints and all those different art supplies. And a lot of times those have something like this in there. You might not even have known what it's for, but this will help blend your shading together, okay? So you could have one of these. If you don't have one of these, it is not critical. You don't have to have one of them, okay? This will just kind of help you out with blending. The tip of your finger can work really well too, or you can roll up a little bit of paper towel or something like that. That works just as well. So optional, possible thing. All right. So step one, we were talking about drawing a triangle, okay? So what I want you to do is anywhere on your paper, draw a triangle. Now, again, this is a little bit weird, right? We are not together live, okay? What I don't want you to do is I don't want you to just watch the whole video and then like draw it later. I want you to get out your supplies right now. So if your supplies are not close to you, go get them, okay? Pause the video and go get them. Come back and let's roll, okay? We're gonna do it kind of I draw, you draw style. I'm gonna show you what to do, and then you're gonna kind of repeat after me. Yours does not need to look exactly like mine though. Yours should be yours, okay? So I'm gonna show you how to start it, but then you're gonna kind of go off in your own direction with how you fill things in on this particular project. All right, so here we are, triangle. I'm gonna throw a triangle right here on the side of my paper. I'm gonna do one line like that. Take my ruler, do another line like that. And I'm gonna put another line over here. Okay, then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a dot somewhere in the middle of this triangle. You do not have to find the exact middle of it. But I think the closer you are to the middle, the easier everything will be for you. So I'm going to kind of put that right about there. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger just so it shows up a little bit better on the camera. But if I were you, I would make a really small dot. Okay. So everybody follow along with that. Let's draw that triangle right now. That's what I want you to do. Okay. Look, this is how live we're going to be. Just like in normal class, I'm going to take a sip of coffee in the middle of teaching. Now, I'm going to draw straight lines from this dot to the corners, okay? And don't make this up, use a ruler, okay? So for each of these lines, I'm going to use a ruler. Go ahead and do the same exact thing while you're watching this. Okay, that's it. You've got one triangle, and by putting that dot in there with the 3 lines, your triangle has now kind of become like a pyramid, all right? So we're looking pretty good. Now, you're going to basically just keep adding more triangles, okay? So I would start on the edge of this triangle. So I'm going to use this edge for the next edge of the next triangle. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw a triangle going up in this direction like so. Okay, so there, and I'll take it from the corner of this one. Like so. Go ahead and do that yourself. Get your second triangle going. Now, once you start getting a few more triangles on your page, that's where there's a couple little things that you might run into as far as problems, okay? So I'm going to show you how to kind of be aware of what might happen. All right, so let's, I'm going to do like a big triangle here, okay? And I'm going to actually take this line that I drew here, I'm going to extend it a little further. Like that, okay? That way this ends up being a larger triangle right here. And so I want you to kind of notice what's happened here too, is like this is almost like another triangle started right here, right? We haven't finished this one yet, but we'll get to that, okay? So let's talk about how we could kind of solve that problem. So let's finish this guy off, put a dot in the middle of there. Okay, now if you only have 1 or 2 triangles on your page right now, and I am going way too fast, okay, then of course you can pause the video and kind of catch yourself up. If you think I'm going way too slow, I guess you could change the playback speed and go through this a little quicker. So right here, so I could draw a line right here, okay, and that would make a small triangle in between these, or I can extend this line even further, okay, to make another triangle here. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and extend this a little further like so, and then let's make this go like that, okay? Put a dot in the middle of that guy and keep going. All right, so I'm just going to kind of start filling this thing in. All right, that's what you should do on your paper too. I would say this is going to take me another 5 minutes or so. So keep going ahead and working on yours and filling in triangles. I'm imagining that for most people, I might have the ability to work a little faster than you. So if you feel yourself falling a little bit behind, go ahead and pause the video if you need to at any moment. And we'll just kind of keep trucking forward. So let's put another one here. So this is another one where I could put another one here, but then what happens is I really extend that line a lot longer, and I don't think I want to do that. I want to change this up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and make this into a triangle here, like that. Then I can kind of create some new triangles off the bottom of this. Now, if you have a line going down the middle of yours because you kind of extended it, that's fine. In fact, I did that in my original one. I'm looking over it right now. I kind of, right here, you can see that line kind of cutting through the middle there. So I think it still looks good. It just kind of depends on what you want for yours. And this is one of those types of projects where you do it a few times and it's a little bit of an experiment. You know, everything's going to look a little bit different depending on how big you make your triangles and how many you put in. I would say you're probably going to want anywhere between 10 to 20 triangles total. Big triangles. Obviously, as soon as you add the smaller triangles, that adds a ton more. But so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 so far. So I feel like I'm about halfway done. Notice also a little easy technique of just turning my paper. Okay. Don't be sort of shy about turning your paper, especially when you're using a ruler. Turning your paper makes drawing a whole lot easier. A lot of times I see students and they're cranking their ruler and hands in all funny directions. Turn your paper, it's a lot easier. I don't know if you can kind of see how my artistic choices are going and the way I process things. Like I was thinking, do I want another one to kind of come out here? I liked that this triangle kind of pokes out on that side. And then I can maybe throw another one coming out here that could look kind of cool way off to the side. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. I'm gonna finish up this side. I feel like it needs something over here, maybe one over here too, to kind of balance my overall composition. We'll make that decision in after we get this side done. I'm gonna shoot one way out here. See how that looks. And this is a good example. Your triangles don't have to be sort of equal on all sides. This is sort of a long and skinny one. It'll just kind of change how the overall look of this pyramid or value crystal, as it's called. Now, if you're looking at it and you're like, gosh, mine looks a little sloppy. One thing may be just because of if you don't take your time really making sure you go from corner to point, your lines are going to be all over the place. So you want to watch that and just kind of really try to be precise. Similar to what we learned about last year with 1-point perspective, really making sure you go into those points as you've drawn them. Okay, So this will give us time to get working on the shading part. All right, so now we've got this part done. I think I need to throw one more in here. Probably this one. Yeah, there we go. Now the purpose of this, the drawing, is to kind of create something to practice our shading with, okay? So each one of these pyramids that we've drawn, you want 3 different values. You want a light, a medium, and a dark. Now, normally when we talk about value, you really want to think about where's your light source, okay? So if you've got a light source, here's my bulb, okay? And if it's coming from this side, okay, that means on this side of a surface, it will be super light. And on this side, it will be super dark. We've got pyramids though, so there's 3 sides to our drawing, or each shape. So in that case, you've got sort of 3 different shades. So you kind of want to think lightest, medium, and then dark, okay? Now, that's not going to work out completely perfectly for you. And the reason why it won't work out completely perfectly as you're doing it is because they're all facing different directions, right? So if you say, hey, the light's coming from here, so this one's going to be dark. Well, this one is turned a little bit, right? So I would kind of think being as consistent as you can. So dark, this one should be dark, this one should be dark, 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 okay? And then your light ones will be on the opposite side. Now here's a case where, okay, if this one's the light one and this one's the medium one, well, how do we do this one? You're just going to kind of choose, okay? And on my first one that I did, you can tell that it's not all perfect, but I kind of keep the dark side sort of on this. So my light is kind of coming from like this way. And this is not the perfect way to shade something that looks realistic. It's more to practice shading to make something that looks cool over something that looks super realistic. We can talk about realism later and really getting better at that as you go. Okay, so light shading. So if you want a light value, notice how I kind of hold my pencil way back here. That helps me alleviate some of the pressure on my pencil. So I'm not pushing too hard. And so I just begin to shade that in. Then here, I'm going to go light as well, but then I'm going to kind of come back and add a little more value into that spot. Okay, so this is going to be like my medium value, okay? And then this spot is going to be my darkest. What I recommend is that you do one triangle at a time, and you start on the opposite side of your paper from your dominant hand. So what does that mean? I'm right-handed. I'm starting on the left-hand side. Why do you think that is? I'll give you a second to think about that. So I'm starting on shading on the left-hand side because I am right-handed. Why? Well, let me turn this around and show you what would happen if I did it the opposite way. So if I did it the opposite way and I shade down here, as I move across my paper, look what happens to my hand. It's going to go right across that, and it's going to begin, you can see I smudged it, okay? You're going to pick up pencil on the inside of your hand, okay? So you don't want that to happen. Since I'm shading this, it shouldn't matter. So you want to work in a way like this. Now, if you're really worried about smudging, the other thing you can do, take a scratch sheet of paper and put your hand on top of that. That can also prevent smudging as well. A little pro tip for you, okay? So let's make this one the light. And sometimes your decisions will be made because, like I said, this is not a perfect example of light, medium, and dark shading because you know, these surfaces would probably, if they were in real life, they would probably have slightly different values, all right? But what I do want to think about is like, don't make this one and this one the same. So if this one's medium, you probably don't want to put a medium value next to a medium value because it will help to show the differences. So go ahead and start shading just like I am. Start on one of your triangles, start with a light value and start shading that in. All right, now notice this one got a little darker than this one, okay? And I'm fine with that. You just want to make sure that you get 3 different values. So when you're doing your dark one, you may find that you're really kind of cranking on your pencil. And go ahead and do that. Like the darker you make your dark value, you know, you're going to end up with a little more drama. It's going to look, I think, a little more interesting. You're going to create more contrast, which is the difference between your lights and darks. I think in fact, I'm going to go back and make this medium one a little bit darker, just adding a little bit. And you notice how easy that is to do? Just if it's already shaded, just shade a little lightly on top of that, okay? Now, what is this thing for? Well, if you've got something like this, what you can do is just kind of come in, and that will sort of smooth out your pencil lines. This is good and bad. Sometimes I like my drawing to have my pencil lines, and I don't want it smudged out, okay? You can use your finger also. The other thing that's bad is take a look at my finger, okay? Now, I don't care that my finger got messy, but if the value's on my finger, it means I removed it from the piece of paper. So when you smooth things out, you're actually pulling a little bit of your value off of your paper, all right? So even though you've got this nice blend here, you're kind of removing some of the shading that you just did. So sometimes you might remove and then you might come back in and add a little more shade. It can also make everything just a little bit a touch on the sort of fuzzy look as well. Then if you notice I kind of smudged outside of, it's probably hard for you to see, but I can just kind of clean some of that up as well. All right, so this has almost been our full 30 minutes today. I'm gonna just kind of go ahead and shade another triangle or two, see how we do. You can do the same. Now, what I want you to do at the end of this is take a quick picture with your Chromebook, okay? So you're going to go ahead and just hold this up in front of your Chromebook, take a quick photo just to show what you've done. You don't need to turn that in. But I'm gonna, next time we meet live, I'm gonna be asking to see your work, all right? If you have reached this point in the video, you've done a fantastic job, all right? And I really appreciate it. And that's how Asynchronous Specials is gonna go from now. You're gonna spend this 30 minutes with me. I'll try to stay on video, kind of talking to myself for 30 minutes and pretending that I'm hanging out with you. And hopefully it'll sort of feel like real life. You know, I'm looking at this triangle here. I think I'm gonna go with my dark value right here. Just to make sure that it's different than that sort of medium value there. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And we'll go ahead and go into this here. And again, if I wanted to, I'll just smooth that out a little bit. Here, let me show you the difference. So this is before I blend it, okay? Let's blend it. And that's after I blend it, okay? So you can kind of tell even right there, like the difference between the blended versus not blended, all right? Okay, so let's see here. There we are, ladies and gentlemen. That has been our class today. Thank you for hanging out with Mr. Bremer on Zoom, or I'm on Zoom, you're at home, but you're watching me on YouTube. I will see you guys live very soon. I'm looking forward to it. I miss all of you, and we will see you all super soon. Bye-bye.